Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. As you catch on, you can sing it with me. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Again. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That verse comes from James chapter 1, verse 19. My family made up that song when we wanted to memorize that passage together. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Keeping those words in mind, here's a story from my childhood. My sister and I had this big board that we called the marker board. It was a dry erase board. Technically, it was Tanya's, but, lived in a common space, so we both used it. So one time, I was doing things on this board. I don't even know what I was doing, but it was elaborate. And then I had another idea. I quick erased it so I could come back to it, but I needed to go to the bathroom, so I ran to the bathroom. And when I came back, ready for my idea, my sister was doing her own thing on the marker board. And do you know what I did? Was I quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger? No, sir. I said, Tanya, I was using that. And since I yelled at my sister for using her own marker board, how do you think she responded? Was she quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger? No. She said, you were done with it, you left the room, and it's mine. And arguments ensued. I think my mom had to step in. Now, how could the situation have been different? If I'd been quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, what might have happened? Any ideas? I could have asked nicely instead of screaming. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there could have been some stopping, listening, and paying attention happening there. There's this term that we use sometimes in church called yieldedness. So when you see a yield sign on the street, you're supposed to slow down, look around, listen, pay attention, and then decide what the best thing to do, like if you should go on or if you should stop. And that's kind of a good way to think of yieldedness. So if I had come in and just slowed down, looked around, I might have taken a breath long enough to realize that there was nothing on the marker board when I left the room, and obviously she thought I was done with it. Or I could have asked a question. Maybe if Tanya had been quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger, she could have said, were you not done with it? I thought you were, right? There are different ways that we could have handled that if we'd kind of just yielded, slow down, pay attention, listen, quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to anger. This is something that really can help your relationships and your family, of course, but this is also how Jesus tells us to relate with each other in the church, to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And we're supposed to do that everywhere, in the world we walk around in school, in our church family. Today, Riley is going to be baptized, so that's why we have these things up here. This is a baptism pitcher and towel. And one of the things that she commits to in being baptized is yieldedness. That means stopping and slowing down and listening to God, to church family members. We have mutual accountability in the baptism vows. We listen to each other and we figure it out together. Quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Let's sing that song again a couple times. See if we can get these words onto your hearts too. Ready? Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Again. Let everyone be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. You may head back to your seats.